ask our editor, our main guy, Paul, at the board. You're going to have to hit a GIF for somebody because it's time. It's time, my friends. It is time to Biden it up. No, you didn't say it.
I know.
Come on, man. What the hell? Damn it. Okay.
That's a better reaction than the one I would have given.
All right. So, so guys, this is actually an article from the Washington Post of all places. Daniel, this is from the Washington Post. You ready?
No.
Joe Biden's
No.
supporters are voicing a growing concern that his campaign is not prepared to deal with Donald Trump and his attacks. So some of Joe Biden's...
Wait. Time out.
Yeah.
Are you saying that the Washington Post is saying what we've been saying for 6 months, for a year?
Yeah.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah, basically. That's the sad fact. All right, so some of Joe Biden's supporters are voicing growing concern that his campaign is not prepared to weather the dual political rip currents, suddenly reshaping the 2020 race, an onslaught of attacks on his family from President Trump, and tightened contest for the Democratic nomination. Other supporters right now are cautioned that a more aggressive approach could cut against Biden's above-the-fray appeal and warn him against losing sight of Senator Elizabeth Warren, but let's also add in Senator Bernie Sanders, because, of course, this is Washington Post. They're not going to really talk about Bernie Sanders that much.
I just learned recently that ABC has given Sanders 7 minutes of airtime.
Well, you know what, Daniel? I'm looking forward when we go to the DNC convention in Milwaukee. We're going to be there. I hope it's not like Philly. Never forget Philadelphia, because God, that was a disaster what happened. Right now, so basically they're saying that Biden is starting to lose a lot of popularity. They're saying that Warren, and let's also mention Sanders, are starting to basically catch up to him. There's now the new demand that Biden simultaneously run a general election matchup with Trump and a primary campaign against several former Democratic challengers, risk straining the campaign that started later and has organized more slowly than some of his rivals' efforts. So again, I find it very interesting that the article actually mentioned that the new demand that Biden basically run a general election matchup with Trump and a primary campaign. So already they're making this weird assumption that Biden just has this in the bag and that he's going to go in the general election. You know, I just can't help but think of another presidential candidate. Corporate media was saying, oh, she's already run the primary. She's going to win the general election. Daniel, who am I thinking about?
Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
No, Clinton.
Oh, okay.
All right, Daniel, what's wrong with you? Come on, pay attention to the show notes. Sorry, folks, we're just having back and forth. It's all good, though. Nonetheless, I think it's very important that we look at this even further, because now the Biden's campaign for now seems to settle on an approach similar to the one Democrats used in the 2018 midterms, trying to ignore Trump as much as possible to focus instead on issues they believe is more resonant with voters. Biden, who's insisted his election will return the country to normalcy, has over the past several days largely sought to avoid the political spasm in which he is now the central figure of. His campaign has sent out daily statements on health care and other issues as if leaning towards predictability in a highly unpredictable time. He has only sporadically talked about Trump's attacks on him and his son Hunter. At a fundraiser in Saturday Park in Park City, Utah, the host Barry Barker called Trump a lying, narcissistic traitor and cheater, while Biden, over the course of a 20-minute speech, did not mention impeachment or the president's dealing with Ukraine, because there's a lot of conversation about that. But so far, again, the article goes into further detail about really he needs to be more aggressive. He needs to start taking on Trump, calling out Trump, but also really getting his issues out there. And they're trying to really deflect and show that Biden's still this strong front runner. But I just can't help but end this article, because I want to get your full comments on this, Daniel, on how Biden's dealing with the attacks. We've been reminded what a statesman he is, because he hasn't risen to the bait of what Trump was presenting over the past few days. I don't think it's installed doubt or anything. If anything, it's instilled more confidence and reminded people why they like him. He's been classy. I urge you guys to please check out the full article in our show notes, because this article is complete BS. Look, here's a sad fact. Biden is a corporate Democrat. He's talking about returning the country back to normalcy. And already, what did we learn in 2016? When you run a corporate neoliberal Democrat against somebody like Trump, who's very good at this game, they're going to be destroyed. It was assumed that Clinton would win. It was assumed that she had it all in the bag. And now they're making the same kind of assumptions about Biden against Trump. It will be a disaster. Or either that, the election will be very close. But the thing is, if you defeat Trump, he's not gone. His presence will still remain. Is this the risk that the DNC wants to take by basically saying that he hasn't risen above the attacks? He's still involved in this. And there's a lot of questionable dealings that Biden and his son had with Ukraine, and also Trump himself. He's a very controversial figure as well. But this article from the Washington Post, it's worthless. He's not classy. He will be destroyed by President Donald Trump. And we're not going to waste our time trying to defend somebody who just really is unprepared. Just look at the first Democratic debate, the second Democratic debate, and the third Democratic debate. We'll soon realize that the more Biden speaks, more people are starting to really question if he has what it takes. It's BS. There's only one nominee that the DNC and actually us as progressives and independents should support, and that's Bernie Sanders. Daniel.
So, how do we get into this? So this is when we talked a number of days ago about why I think Biden needs to be taken down first. This is why. He's the easiest to break down, but he's also the biggest impediment to moving forward. If you look at where blue-collar workers are, they're either with Bernie Sanders, there's a few of them with Warren, there's some with Yang, there's a few with Tulsi, but the lion's share are with Biden. And if they keep holding on to Biden as their savior, he's going to split votes in Iowa, which will help Warren boost up. He's going to split votes in New Hampshire, which will help Warren push up. Because if we're in a three-way race between Biden, Sanders, and Warren, and Biden holds on by whatever reason, Warren wins. And there's a lot of reasons that's not good. Biden needs to be taken down. He needs to be taken down. Now, people that are just expecting him to just kind of sink on his own, we need to help him out. Biden, you can hit in so many different ways. He's basically a Republican. He has race issues that haven't been addressed. He's still the establishment pick. Nonetheless, they are ignoring Bernie Sanders again, and they're giving it all to Warren. Biden needs to come down. How do we do that? Well, we're at a point where the Washington Post is backing him up for basically trying to say his own people are starting to question how good he is, but that's a good thing that you should go with. But the fact that they write an article like that means that the seed of doubt is already in people's heads. Biden runs on the idea that he can beat Trump. The people I've talked to that maybe don't support Biden, but he's their second choice, they say, well, he can beat Trump. Everyone has forgotten what happened in 2016 when the media said, here's your person that's going to win. We need to help remind people he's run twice before and failed, and he will fall to Trump. Or we could even say, if they don't think that's the case, are you really willing to take that risk? Biden does terrible with Republicans. He does terrible with independents. He can barely go out to events. He seems like some part of his body is falling apart every single day.
Yeah, just look at it.
What are we going to do?
Well, here's what we can do at this point. What we can do is acknowledge the fact that you can't have a neoliberal candidate. You can't have a corporate Democrat. And look, corporate media is doing whatever it can to defend Biden, basically say that he's the nominee or that he has the most experience. But take off the rose-colored glasses and realize that there's a lot of things to be critical about the Obama administration, something that he has refused to acknowledge. And when you even have Julian Castro, who was also a former member of the Obama administration, basically calling out former Vice President Joe Biden, or either that Mayor Bill de Blasio saying the exact same thing as well, Biden stumbles. And if he can't handle that during a Democratic primary debate, how can he handle Trump going after him as well? Because Trump will be unapologetic.
The same goes for Warren.
Yeah.
She can, I mean, that was a complete faux pas to let him win. There should have not even been a Pocahontas debate, let alone Trump winning, but he won.
Yeah, so, well, the thing is, like, she walked into that, and the thing is, Biden can walk in the very same kind of traps as well. I think establishment Democrats, especially someone like Biden, is going to run on safe talking points, returning things back to normal.
He's going to rely on the media establishment to push his message forward because he's not in Iowa. He's not doing any of those things.
Well, he's only at fundraisers. I mean, let's face it. He's not doing the town halls. He's not going to a lot of events because he has the same problem Clinton has. The more he speaks, the more people dislike him. And the more people dislike him, the less they're going to turn.
But he's not speaking that much.
I know, and that's why they're censoring him, because they know he'll keep screwing up, and they're assuming that everyone's going to love him because he's Obama's vice president, or he was Obama's VP. But Obama, even he has not endorsed Joe Biden. No, Joe, I'm not going to endorse you. No, Joe.
So that's what I'm saying. It's all about the timing. Biden needs to fall sooner rather than later. Warren could literally get 10% more, and it wouldn't matter if you got down to 2. Again, like I said before, she's climbing, but she's really just absorbing the bases of other people. Again, we also have to remember the polls in the last election show that progressives are going to outmatch polls. Establishment people aren't. She's kind of in the middle, so let's say that for sake of argument, she maintains.
Yeah.
Sanders, if you take Biden out of the picture, Sanders wins.
Yeah. So
it doesn't matter if they try and force something at the DNC. He'll get over 50% if Biden gets out sooner.
Yeah. And I just want to end this on a final note. I'm even looking at the live stream chat. A lot of people are basically saying the same thing. Biden is a disaster. I'm looking at a lot of funny comments. One comment, though, from Freethinker59. There goes the paper budget. I promise, only one paper shredding a month. Okay? I promise.
It's the end of the month. You were very lucky. Your timing.
I know, very lucky. So there we go. So maybe next week. Next week. What? I have to clean up the mess. So we try not to do that.